Good evening and welcome to Edessa the Dark Crusade. Tonight we find ourselves within the Rack Bazaar in the city of Edessa. One of the smaller shops, get-togethers. As it is in the Holy Land, there is a mixture of pillows and many of these shops where you can sit, discuss trading, or discuss the deal you're working on. And this one is no different. There's lots of knickknacks. It's not a big store. But there is a back room where there's, always time for a little meeting, maybe smoking a little, or sure, or drinking some tea, or whatever. Could be the case. But tonight, Madeline has just arrived, and she will just greet the shopkeeper. He seems to be somewhat, well, familiar with her in any regard. She will just find some of these pillows, these things to sit on, and she will just wait. There's at least one person she hopes to meet tonight, the one she's invited, but she's also let it slip that she would be in the bazaar for some time this evening to her newest student.
Well, she doesn't have to wait long if she has arranged a time with Johanna. Johanna shows up around that time, leaves her guards to go amuse themselves elsewhere. And shows herself in, or is shown in by the shopkeeper, who she probably doesn't know, but...
And the shopkeeper just looks up, and it's like, you see, like, there's 2 or 3 seconds of, like, what? Who the hell is... Oh! But yeah, he just nods after a couple of seconds and just leads you to the back. And Madeline is just sitting. She's actually somewhat leisurely sat today. She's lying down in some of these... Well, it's not a sofa per se, it's on the floor, but it seems comfortable. She's just lying there. Seems to be relaxing. And she hears the door open, she will just get up and just say, a bit of quiet with you. A bit of relaxation is just what I need. Please, come in.
I'm pleased to hear it. I'm always glad to be the answer to someone's prayers. What has you so worked up, Madeline?
Well, all of the things I have to see to. Which of which there is plenty, but well, I have more than one release for such annoyances.
I'm so glad. A good balance, it sounds like. Those are important.
There's a I'm sure you're both familiar of what it sounds like when a dog, or claws of a dog walks on a hard surface on the ground. There's kind of that sort of like slightly scuttling sound. Which stops for a few seconds as dog shimmies its way on its belly past the shopkeeper. And then slowly, sort of quietly with its head down, enters the room. It's a large... You both recognise it. It seems to be the dog that more often than not will accompany Thorvald. It's a large, mottled, scruffy-looking, what they call an Irish wolfhound, or a war dog. It's a pretty big dog. It's got mismatched. One eye's blue and the other's brown.
Madeline looks at this thing. She just, Mr. Dendis apparently joining us. That would not be a problem for you. I know.
Of course not. She reaches down and offers a hand to the dog to sniff.
The dog seems to look at you both with a kind of sentience, and seem pleased at its finding of you. It sits down and sort of allows itself to be petted, and then it will trot back to the door and sit outside the door to indicate to its master where the two are to be found. And a couple of minutes later, Thorvald will make his way through.
Beth and Johanna's probably found herself a seat near Madeline, curled up against some of the pillows. Tidy and dark.
So, has there been any new developments with all of the angry locals around your place? Or has it quieted down?
It's difficult to say. Quiet can come and go. It's hard to know when a spark will light a fire. But it seems quiet.
Hopefully it will stay that way, and likely as it may be, I am quite afraid that we will have very little peace in the foreseeable future.
I'm afraid so. Edessa's enemies are within the gates as well as out.
Oh,
I mean the rats.
Hmm.
The plague.
quite so.
All of it.
Walls are only good for holding out a certain type of enemy. It is quite unnerving how grand this plan seems. But let us not reminiscent of, think of such subjects that have, well, let us face it.
Only good things tonight. Is that what you mean?
Not exactly, but I do not see that anything new has has been shown or found since we last talked of this plague bearer, this plague spreader.
No. I have nothing new.
Which worries me.
You're right, dude. That's it.
Means that it is something that has been planned for a long time, and whoever this person is, deranged or not, is methodical. And it is hard to get close to him.
Or he has exhausted his resources and must rebuild before he can move again. Or perhaps he's hit a snag.
If only we could be so lucky.
I doubt we will be, but it's a nice thought, isn't it?
It is.
She's keeping one eye on the door because there was a dog, and soon she expects there will be a gangrel.
Yeah, she's right. After a few moments, the said gangrel will appear. He's completely dressed in black. And hanging from his mouth is a pipe. It seems to emit a slightly purplish smoke.
Rebecca? Oh God, it begins. Yana gives him a smile as he comes in, gives his pipe a curious look.
He takes the pipe out of his mouth and bows to you both. The dog goes and lays on a pillow that's unoccupied in the corner of the room, seeming somehow still to be guarding the door.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to see you.
Johanna.
And Madeline just gets up and gives him a quite deep hug. And she'll just say, always good to see you. I was not entirely sure that you would be joining us here, but I'm always up for a pleasant surprise.
There's a heavy scent of sort of incense and perfume about him. Oils. It's unusual. Thorwald's normally clean, but doesn't tend to use oils or incense.
Madeline stops and just smells him. I must say, quite a thing. Out of your own volition?
I've been feeding. The occupant's house was rather fragrant, it seems.
Does that mean to say that you helped the person living there? Or was it simply abandoned?
He raises a brow. Helped?
You said you fed recently.
Only a little. Not enough to impair for long. I have a sufficient medical knowledge to make sure that...
Good. I simply wanted to make sure.
Yana gives Madeline a very interested look. Kind of curious, but she doesn't say anything.
She was tucked up in her bed when I left.
Oh. This is even more interesting.
I helped myself to some of her... He looks at the pipe. Tobacco. Shisha.
I hope that is tobacco.
It's not.
Oh, it's not tobacco. We've never heard of tobacco. Tobacco came from the New World.
It's not. I corrected myself to shisha. From
Yeah.
opium.
Opium, man, yeah.
But it's not really going to have an effect on me. Because... But yeah, he's smoking it anyway.
Johanna says, I hope that is something that is designed to go in the mouth and not simply around the house. Or you will have gotten some very strange looks on the way here.
Everything in that house was designed to go in the mouth, as far as I could see. He says with a
Well,
start.
that is a very interesting comment. Johanna looks amused.
It seems like he said it to amuse.
Hmm. If I was the jealous type, I might have been quiet and asking a couple of questions. But she smiles. It is good to know that you are fighting substance. That is a quite tall order for quite a few people, is this?
He
Jealous of a mortal.
reaches for Madeline's hand, and if she lets him, he'll take it and he'll say, "Food is food. There were no significant intimacies shared."
Hmm. It is quite alright. If there
There's no.
was, if there was, it is quite understandable. And I do really not mind. She
He
seems very, almost strangely calm and strangely um, truthful about that statement. Or wait, I should probably roll something before that, to be perfectly honest. But,
Interesting. Ooh. Is that Manip sub?
yeah, it is. It is.
Okay. I will roll against that 1 second.
I can roll against that now as well because I put up my empathy.
We
2 successes.
Hang on. One success.
like Joanna, the feeling that Madeline means it, but there's a slight hint that she's maybe she's trying to convince herself of that. It, or maybe she
Interesting, okay.
believes it, but there's something in that that just seems fluid. But mostly she seems fairly confident in what she says, and she seems fairly honest. But there is a slight hint, like a little bit of doubt. You catch it, but it's slight. Something that's a little off, but not by much.
Johanna's not going to call her on it. She just shrugs. She cannot imagine Madeline being jealous of a mortal, and if anybody looks her way, the way that she looks at Madeline makes it quite clear that Madeline has no mortals to be jealous of. That there's the difference in quality between Madeline and any mortal is so great as to be absurd. Kind of almost a disbelief that it would even cross Madeline's mind that her place could be taken by a mortal.
Or anyone for that matter.
Right? Maybe not anyone. Johanna likes some other people as well, but particularly a mortal. She just stays quiet.
For all his stoicism, Thorvald does definitely look at Madeline in a very affectionate way, and that's clear. You don't need to pee either. Well, if his pupils dilated, they'd probably be quite big.
Ooh, do our pupils not dilate? Is that not a thing?
No,
Ooh, interesting.
I don't think so. Anyway,
Hmm?
well, it's a whole complicated question about vampires and biology, isn't it?
I think they can make them, like, I think they can control them somewhat, but like to make it look natural for you to react to certain light, it requires training, and it requires like that you know that it's coming.
Interesting.
I'm
Very
quite
interesting.
sure.
Anyway. Madeline's only a little jealous.
It's that it wasn't that part. It was, or like you didn't get the sense that it was directed towards this mortal. It was more of a general state of her,
Okay.
her stating that she's not jealous. There was something there that felt a little bit hollow. So you don't get the sense that it's specifically towards one person. Not with what she was talking about.
I have been a jealous woman in my time. But it's difficult to be jealous once one gives up such things.
I find that we must use our social skills and such to feed. But once the opportunity for feeding takes place, then the rest of the negotiation is negligible.
That is true. I am, among many other things, somewhat of a hopeless romantic, I suppose. I feel that certain things should be kept kept to certain purposes, while others one can keep specialness of certain things, if done only when in certain situations.
Well, I quite agree.
Hana's one success to remain quiet and show no feelings. She simply nods. But it doesn't seem like it's an I agree sort of nod. It's more of a I accept what you're saying sort of nod. I believe you.
There is a certain practice of. He looks to you, Hannah, sort of considering devotion that I save for only one occasion. And it is spared from my hunting rituals and elsewhere in my life. The place of more private worship. He puffs on the pipe.
Why? I do believe we can have some personal space, all of us.
And we must.
Oh, well, at least I hope so.
If we do not find rules for ourselves, some sort of way to make peace with who we are and what we do, we will go mad.
Very true.
For a long time, my church was battle or combat. Now these days I find it in other places.
Church of Battle.
In a sense, it's a battle all of its own. Never with a clear victor.
What is a battle all its own?
He is looking at Madeline at this point.
Can I assume that Johanna can probably read that glance? Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and peony. That's a better idea.
Madeline just...
Being quite,
Oh,
he's not really giving much away body language-wise at the moment, apart from the fact that he's looking at Madeline.
okay.
He's probably got back to you, so Madeline might be able to see more of his facial expression than you would. How many successes did you get?
5 to read his motions.
5.
Yeah, I got some 10s.
He's talking about sex.
Gotcha. I understand.
He's
like, oh, it's 5 with 5 successes. You get it.
he's basically saying that he's basically trying to, in a very subversive way or in a very non-direct way, reassure Madeline that he didn't have sex with this human, and that his devotion in that act is solely hers. But because you can tell that he's purposefully being subversive or using what's the right word? Analogies, probably because of Johanna's presence.
What is that?
That is a peony, just to see how if Madeline gets the what he's saying, and she does. She has 5 successes as well.
Mm.
And she just begins to ever so slightly just grow a smile on her face. She just, well, I hope this new thing you have found, this new devotion, has a victory in mind for you. Hopefully. What wonders have you found, I wonder? What kind of worship is this? If I did not know better, I would say that you are calling something else divine.
He smiles.
It would not be the first. It will not likely be the last.
Divine. I don't really think that's an adequate word for it.
Inadequate.
Divine is inadequate.
Hmm.
or at least words fall short of its purpose. I'm sure you understand, in your own way, Johanna, your connection to your devotions is not easily describable by something so simple as words.
No, you're correct. I've just never heard the word divine described as inadequate before. It amused me. You are bold. I do not disapprove.
Well, that is good. Good to hear that you have found something in place of, well, what you were devoted to, shall we say, before. It did not agree with you.
It's a different kind of power. Different kind of elation.
Of that I have no doubt. I, however, am just much less versed in such things.
She said she's less versed in what?
Combat.
Ah, got it. Johanna just looks amused.
And here we are, still standing. Please, sit.
Madeline does. She just claps the pillows just beside her.
Thorvald slowly lowers himself into the pillow fort on the floor, because that's really what it is. It's cushions on the floor, you know, and it's when you're as tall as Thorvald is, it's kind of odd to go from being stood up to being at floor level.
Mm-hmm.
But he does sort of carefully sink into the pillows.
Well, then our company's complete.
Certainly an interesting change of location.
Well, the home is, for the moment, our usual studies. And, well, my shop is still not completely rebuilt. And I do believe I will not be holding any social functions, even when it is, well, for the first couple of months it is open. He might be my clanmate, but my last visit was quite a traumatic experience for him.
Indeed, I think it will be some time before the Toreador welcome at this place. And she's giving Madeline a rueful look.
Thorvald strokes his beard slightly.
But I do mean to take you to the tea house at some time, Thorvald. As I promised, I believe.
Tea house.
Yes. Ravnos. For a very interesting drink. Many very interesting drinks.
Everyone is able to drink within the tea house. Or perhaps it is the tea that is just different. Everyone can imbibe it, however, and well, it is quite delicious.
I
After
don't.
so many years of only blood.
I don't think if there was a drink that I could have imbibed again, tea would be it.
Have you had it?
Well, I'm willing to. I'm willing to try the tea house.
Good. I can
I've
fight alcohol, certain if that's what you mean. Or milk. What is it that you crave?
honeyed wine.
Mm.
I miss it.
She nods.
As a boy, I used to steal it from my mother's cup. Though she was remiss to notice.
Oh. You're a sneaky child.
The place I was raised, in essence, was always busy. People coming and going.
Mm.
There were quite a few children. And we went unnoticed. Mostly stayed out of the way. It's not a place you'd want to raise a child.
I remember my children stealing the wine from my cup. It was also busy. But it was precisely the place you would want to raise a child.
Did I ever tell you that my sire was intended to be a member of your clan?
From what I've heard, I can believe it. I've heard she's very beautiful. Intended to be. That is an interesting word.
She came
What happened?
to the brothel where my mother was working. She was a very, very powerful woman in her time. The wife of a senator. Very influential. And so to see her in a brothel was strange. And yet she was devoted on by everyone there. She had tastes for her own gender, and the brothel was the only place that she could see these tastes met. My mother was the object of her affection at the time. And not satisfied with one evening, she purchased my mother and brought her back to her villa. However, my mother would not leave me behind. So she purchased me as well.
That's wisdom. It's much better to keep those things at home.
Under her husband's nose. She has a weakness for beauty.
All that I can. And she just gestures over to Torvald. That is quite self evident.
As I understand, at the time there was somewhat of a political battle in canine society over who was controlling what mortals in the Senate. The Toreador had his eye on my sire and was beaten to the pip by a gangrel. Caused quite the commotion, so I'm told.
How very interesting. Dangerous game.
Very dangerous. Roman society was fraught with betrayal. And violence.
You're very old.
Just preserved.
I see.
She kept me like a bottle of wine in the cellar.
Oh. That's unfortunate. A waste.
Oh,
And
I'm
yet
not
I cannot be too harsh. As long as the bottle is opened.
I think the cork may have been sprung loose. He smiles at you.
She kind of gives a nod to Madeline, like, good job, Madeline. Way to spring that cork.
It wasn't supposed to sound like a sexual innuendo, but it so.
Madeline's just sitting there. Seems to be just, well, for the most part, she just seems to just watch, listen.
And your mother? Was she taken care of?
She was. Till my sire decided that she wanted to kill her husband. In Roman law, if a slave revolts against its master, all the slaves are killed. The story was spun that the slaves revolted and killed him, and I was forced to leave my mother behind.
That must have been very bitter.
The choice was not in my hands.
Of course not. It does not make it less bitter. It is a dangerous game to play with one's child. I dislike dangerous games. She says which is a lie, though she means it in this case. But Johanna's playing dangerous games all the damn time, so, you know.
Yeah. In any case, it was a very long time ago.
It is one thing we have a great deal of. It's time.
And thirst.
And thirst.
Well, that's the last part we have in ample supply. And Madeline will just, for the moment, she would just say, if you would excuse me for a moment. And she would just get up. Just outside the shop, she will go outside. A runner, a messenger, will just be there. Has been summoned by one of her two, companions, bodyguards, standing outside, and she exchanges a few words. A message needs to be sent to somewhere. The usual comings and goings of a seneschal. But as she's standing there in the street, two other people will be able to see that Madeline is standing there.
Probably literally like a mantis right beside her. Garnet will just lean his head on her shoulder. Madeline, so nice to see you.
There'll be a slight, jib. Madeline won't be able to hide it completely. You'll just jump up and, oh, Garnet, you startled me.
So sorry, you say, smiling.
Oh, it is quite all right. I was just done here. And you can see that she passes a couple of coins to the messenger, who smiles. It's a small, very young boy. Fast, but not too big, so he can get around fast. And
Sorry, carry on.
no, and she just says, I am actually having a bit of a get-together. You are welcome to join us.
I would be delighted, darling. Delighted. He'll say, smiling, beaming.
Alex, go ahead.
As Garnet appears, there's a very sharp, loud bark from in the shadows behind Madeline's back, and a little bit of a low growl, seeming his sudden appearance alarmed the dog as well.
Garnet will turn and just stare at it, smirking, smiling.
See, it was not only me you startled. It is quite all right.
It happens sometimes. He'll grin as he's walking in with Madeline, very swaggering in.
And for what it's
tell
worth.
me, is your sister with you?
Well, he'll look around. Depends on which one, really. She does like to change herself every now and again. He'll look around, almost like waiting for probably whichever incarnation Mina is at the minute.
Oh yeah, Mina has a side face that she has perhaps been wearing more and more frequently lately. But at the very least, Alonzo is still decidedly recognizable, and while he is not trotting along at her heel, he is hooked up in her arm like the pampered little thing he should be. And she will, in fact, potentially even call attention by snapping a glance at the bark that comes from, I guess, the darkness.
Yeah, I mean, you can just about see in that it's a large, grey wolf, essentially a wolfhound, like an Irish wolfhound.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, she is not having a staring contest with the wolfhound, but she is definitely only so far away with Alonzo tucked up under her arm and eyeballing this dog like, damn, that's a nice dog.
It seems to be protective of Madeline.
she will just smile to it and just, yeah, Mina, it is quite something.
She'll pick up her finger and push it to her lips, and come on around to join them properly. Now, wouldn't that be a mistake? Oh, my
I am sorry. You
my
just
dear
remind,
sister.
remind
is
me of
in
someone
Ireland.
no, I am sorry. And Madeline will curtsy and just smile to her and just say, I must apologize for this presumptuous action. I am very pleased to meet you. My name is Madeleine. Might I have yours?
And oh, she's got a perfectly that's exact same mischievous smile. She certainly looks very similar to Mina. In fact, it looks like she could easily be a sister to herself. Question mark. But she will all the same offer out a hand, a properly gloved hand, wouldn't you know? Oh, Mariposa.
Ah, Mariposa. Yeah. Yes, you are I assume, very good friend of Garnet. Would you join us?
So sweet of you to ask. Absolutely.
And Madeline will smile, nod, and she will move into a smallish shop. The shopkeeper is just arguing with a customer. Well, he's negotiating with a customer over the proper price of something in the store, but he just nods. And they enter, and inside the back room that is furnished with pillows and basically places to lie down, you will see Torvald and Joanna.
Joanna rise when she sees that there's another Ancilla. She just kind of slides to her feet to give Garnet a nod.
Garnet will beam once he sees Johanna. Darling!
And a nod to Mariposa. Should I roll to recognize her? Is that how that works? Or
I believe technically you don't. But
okay.
she is let's just say the fact that there's a certain family resemblance and whatnot, I would make it an easy assumption to people that know Mina. That and while out on the street she composes herself so politely. It's the exact same fiendish grin on almost the exact same face.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very least, there is Alonzo still tucked up under her arm, looking just thrilled with himself. He's getting so much love, so much petting. He's the best boy.
She'll nod to Mariposa and then kind of recognize the grin and to do a double take. Actually, is she wearing a dress that Johanna would have had made for her?
Honestly, probably. She probably went through one of her retinue to buy it, but yes, absolutely. That is probably the source of the shit-eating grin, truth be told.
I'm totally 100% down with this. Johanna provided a beautiful dress and doesn't recognize the chick, but it's like, oh, hey!
Perfect.
She just nods.
Thorvald will stand. He's about 6'6", 6'7", all black armor. He appears to be armed. And he's got a sort of small wooden pipe hanging out of his mouth. His beard is got a couple of gold beads in it. And he'll just take the pipe out of his mouth and give them both a bow, assuming they're friends of Madeline's and therefore.
It appears very much to be the case.
Yeah, he just bows to them politely.
What a pleasure to see you both, she says, and settles herself back on the cushions.
Just smile at everybody and just sit himself down cross-legged. He's about 6'5", really skinny, but wears long robes, and he's about like appearance 4 looks as well, with really tight curly hair as he sits down.
Yeah, I'm regretting not having my overlay up at the moment. But yeah.
For what it's worth, it is. Mina is still only apt 2. She is not investing that kind of blood in her shenanigans.
Come on, that gif is not apt to.
Well, she looked more apt 2 in the other movie, okay? Assume her makeup is not on point. I don't know. I got nothing for you.
Apt 3. I mean, he could probably be apt 4 if he wasn't.
I mean, I would, but it costs blood. I mean, it's just barely skating by. So, no. Just pretend she's slightly uglier. I got nothing for it.
I can't.
I blame the clothes. These fabulous clothes obviously just make her look amazing. It's clearly really the only reason. But anyway. She will at least politely bob, and especially with with poor Johanna given the chance to be like, "Oh hey," she will very very teasingly gesture, and again this time it's actually some semblance of a proper curtsy. Oh, it's Mariposa lately.
I see. It suits you.
Doesn't it just?
Do you intend to stay? A beautiful butterfly.
Oh, she smiles so sweetly.
I'm going to pity that smile.
Do it.
And no idea what she's thinking when she smiles.
That's okay. It's funnier that way. But yes. Oh boy, what a smile. I think I will. If only, well, I have an excuse now, but it's just so fun. There's the little shoulder waggle of a shrug. Yes, you do.
Godwin's sort of looking between all the Ancilla, like... Well, he doesn't know they're Ancilla. He's sort of looking between Madeline and Johanna, like... What's going on? like, there seems to be something going on, but he's not really aware of what's going on. So...
Well, it is wonderful to have you added to our company.
Well, I found such lovely company. I thought it would be a shame not to invite them into this lovely gathering.
Will you do me the honor of introducing me to your guest, mistress?
Ah, so this is the gang, Garnet will say, leaning forward, smiling.
You have not met? Oh,
no.
I apologize, of course. Please. Neonate, Tora, the Flying Gangrel, may I introduce you to Garnet and Scylla of Clan Malkavian and his sister, Neonate of Clan Malkavian. She is still a Neonate, right? Or she's not fledgling, right?
She is fledgling. She's
She will then
the
say,
biggest baby.
she will just say, fledgling of Clan Malkavia.
Thorwald will nod his head to Garnet first and say, "A pleasure, my lord." And then offer. I was about to say Mina. Mariposa a little bow as well. He's still standing. He seems to be waiting for everyone else to sit first.
For what it's worth, Mariposa seems decidedly entertained. The whole thing.
What?
Hmm?
She looks to Garnet and she says, we were just, perhaps, I do not exactly know what, we were concerned of the lack of news of the situation in the city, but perhaps you have heard news?
Oh, well, it depends on which news, of course, Madeleine. What are you looking to hear?
What I look to hear is that the rat problem has been dealt with, but safe of that, some sort of progress, or at least no bad news, but I know that he's probably being quite a bit too optimistic.
Well, people are poking into things, and we do have, I'm sure you've heard of the bodies in Riverside. Interesting little creatures coming to take some of us. You grin.
Mariposa punctuates this with a decided pout.
I must. You're speaking of the rats of Riverside that have been.
Oh no, these are no rats, no. In fact, your Irene should know them quite well. I believe her and my sister and the little Sedite in the shop, Gufron, might have stirred a hornet's nest after them. He'll grin right over it at Mina.
Pout intensifies. Decides to pay more attention to Alonzo because he's not mean.
Now, thankfully, I was able to smooth things over for my sister, but I dare say Irene and Gufron might be the next target, if to be believed.
What kind of creatures?
Humans. What were they called again, sister? He'll grin. His green eye seems to just blaze.
I'm just going to give you, since I didn't roll for it, Madeline just, as you said that, Madeline just kind of just snapped with the end, or with the question, what creatures? You can tell that she just kind of tenses, she tenses up, but then as soon as you say humans, or something that is like humans, she just kind of relaxes a bit again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, snap. Interesting. Okay.
I'm just gonna stow that.
They seem to be quite organized and attack during the day.
In my defense, they were gold.
But it
I'm glad
seems
to
to
see you
be.
looking so well. Can be very dangerous. Those sorts of things.
Oh, I didn't.
Just be thankful your brother was there to take care of you as always.
She shoots him kind of this obviously kind of fabricated, but just this little simpering look, like, oh, of course. My dearest brother would never leave me in the lurch.
Thorvald looks over at Mariposa and he kind of has this slightly amused look on his face.
To be fair, that is probably the way to be. It is very clear, and it occurs to me that you haven't seen her before, so
No, he's never seen it before.
she is very high energy. Most of her expressions are kind of cranked up to 11.
He's definitely grinning. He has a quite intense look on his face for a few seconds. And then he lowers his gaze again and sort of does a little bit of a pace about the side of the room, seeming somewhat uncomfortable at the mixed seating and standing arrangements.
And yeah, especially at the mention, she will again very fondly stroke Alonzo's head before scritching under his chin. And at some point, I should show you what Alonzo looks like. But of course, the dog is absolutely thrilled, and she will just be kind of cooing as she says, "Alonzo fought better than all of my men combined. He's a treasure."
I'm imagining a Pomeranian somehow.
No, not quite. It's a little rat terrier.
Animals are a great boon. So little used.
And alas, I can't use the ridiculous picture, but that is Alonzo.
Oh.
He is that happy, approximately. Actually, I think only I assume Madeleine doesn't have an offensive to animals.
Nope.
Okay. But I think she's the only one, or an equivalent.
If it's a ghoul dog, then it's not gonna be.
That is actually true.
I don't know. I've had the ST several times say Alonzo reacts certain ways to people, so I was going based off that. But either way, then yeah, I guess he is perfectly happy.
Madeline just sits there and she just seems to contemplate something. We have had hunters before, witch hunters.
They seem to be quite organized in the town.
They were the last time they were here.
Perhaps it's something that we can all work together on. It's always interesting when men of faith align themselves together.
Why? There is a very easy way to handle them. Especially with the plague, it will be even easier.
He's got a smile like, ooh. You know what I mean? I like the way you think.
Mina manages somehow, without disturbing Alonzo, to do the excited little clap. Because she has a notion and she really hopes.
Oh, it is. I'm afraid it's not that exciting.
Aww.
I do not want to get your... She just leaves that there and doesn't complete that sentence. Because getting her hopes up to something that those two are talking about is probably a little disturbing, but oh well. And she just says, well, they must take extra precautions to keep themselves away from the plague. They must eat, they must sleep, and they are still very much mortal. They are in peak shape now, perhaps.
And what about their angel? Does he sleep?
Well, perhaps not. But he does not seem to do a lot without them present.
No, you could.
I don't know.
She's asking Madeline.
What?
Sorry,
Sorry,
Johanna.
what did you ask?
Johanna interrupts to say, "Have you met the angel, Madeline?"
Their angel? No, I have not.
Have you met other angels, Madeline?
Ah, fuck. I'm gonna have to roll Peony now. Or a nip sub.
Oh, man. Oh, hang on. Oh, that was a good
That
roll.
is 3 successes.
I have more, because those are 10s. So I have 5.
Four.
Madeline just sits there somewhat uncomfortably. And she just smiles. She doesn't answer you. She doesn't say anything. She just seems to be thinking of something. Met. I have seen and heard some things that are... Well, again, it is a matter of perspective, I suppose. But I suppose you could call it divine in a certain manner.
Well, then, we may be more fortunate than I thought. Perhaps you know how to keep this angel from destroying the powers of the blood.
Like I said, their spirit might be strong, but their bodies are all but mortal. Are all immortal, and, well, what is an instant for us is 10, 15 years for them. Their spirits might still be strong, but their bodies are not as good as they once were. And secondly, we are not the only thing that takes their attentions, shall we say. And that would be my real way to go about this. Remind them of what other things that we share the night and other places with. They will become all too busy. They will not have time for us. Well, not their entire time.
Not Mina will finally take a seat, putting Alonzo in her lap. Still grinning, always grinning. And what happens when he has a mob of people who hate us more than anything? It's almost like it's their entire driving purpose.
In a sense, it is. I will admit the time I remember of meeting hunters, it was a small but very, very capable group of people. It was not a mob in that regard, but mobs can be very hard to dissuade when they have the pitchforks out and have found you. Your job, in my opinion, would be to not get caught, but muddy the waters somewhat. Make sure that that mob, when it forms, is going after supposedly other problems in the city. I am quite certain that such righteous people, noble and righteous as they are, would see quite a few things wrong in the city, not only us. Perhaps such a mob could be, well, just as concerned about other things. For instance, where their next meals come from.
Well, you should be certain that you keep the gates of Timurin locked tight. If they sought out Mina, they will almost certainly come for Irene.
It's quite the trek, all things considered.
They'll probably go for Gufron first. He's easier to find.
I hope not.
Mm.
But you're correct.
Why would
they
they-
will probably go for Gufron first.
Gufram is, as far as I know, quite adept at hiding. No?
Well, I thought I was too.
Strangely, though, they never found me. Look at Mina with this devilish grin.
Pokes her tongue
Well,
out
they're
at
hunting for
him.
you. They know of
Probably.
you.
No. One had to hide Mina, and, well, one can hide Mina so effectively that they never even realized I was there. I do believe the City Watch did try to find her, but the wrong house is the wrong house after all. You'll grin. Nobody finds me unless I want them to find me.
Mina has adopted quite the pout again. I never even went into my home. Visible. I shouldn't have been able to. I'm sure they cheated.
Mm.
Cheating seems to be what they do well. I do not know how to fight an angel.
Everything
I think... Oh, go ahead. Still me. You might find it fairly hard. We were rather sick. Getting too close to it glowed too hard. Poor Gufran. He had it worse than anyone.
Really?
Devilish smile returns as she sits back in her seat.
Hmm. Honestly,
he sits
Hey.
down on set.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just said that Thorvald finally sits down and everyone sat down.
Yeah. Okay. Madeline would just say, well, I suppose it, holy man. Well, I am not to claim to know anything specifically, but honestly, if you are one of these Setites, you are likely to attract quite a bit of attention from quite a few places, and well, a holy man would probably not have too much trouble finding you. I doubt there's anything egregious in difference, but if I were to make a guess, perhaps he will stick out to these people a little bit more. I'm sure you all know. She kind of looks around.
Garnet just simply smiles.
I was frowning deeply.
Not Mina just looks amused, like she always does. There's a pregnant pause here. Her eyebrows slowly migrate towards her hairline. Like, yes?
Right. The followers of Set seem to attract quite a bit of attention from quite a few sources. Why is this? I can honestly not tell you, but they seem to be hated by quite a few people. Perhaps his curse simply makes him stand out a bit more. I have heard of stranger things.
Well, either way, then that makes him all the more pertinent target for something so righteous if he reacted in such a way. If I was them, anyway. But we shall see if Gufran does manage.
Oh, he will. Unless he does something very stupid, it will be fine.
We'll see. Like I said, don't go home visible. They shouldn't have been able to find me.
If this angel...
Hmm?
If this angel can unmask the powers of the blood which allow us to hide...
Well, it wasn't him, it was the bells.
Bells.
Mm-hmm. Church bells. She makes like she's ringing a little handbell.
It will explain why he's using such a small town. These are the corral. And if he is planning to take us, it's a good place to it's a good place to hide them.
Besides, when he did it, or when they did it, I felt it. I knew. But I've never had it fail on me going home. He wasn't there.
Which means, you lean back. They already knew you were there.
She again gives a pout.
Which means, logically, that they have people everywhere.
Or you were found very quickly upon entering the city. Seems unlikely, but it is also a possibility. Perhaps they are keeping... Perhaps it is a combination. They expect an attack from us, so they keep a very closeful look on anyone who enters or leaves the town. You were seen as you approached, perhaps? It seems unlikely that they would have spies already.
And I do remember seeing your face everywhere, Mina.
She again gives a distinct pout. Doesn't change that they shouldn't have been able to find my home.
One can always remember how much a motivated ghoul can do. And then extrapolate from there. They are about as motivated as to find us as a ghoul is to help us. And ghouls can do quite a few things. Quite well.
Indeed.
She returns to pout face.
We all have to get caught once in a while, Mina. That's not a problem.
It could have been a lot worse, darling. You're still breathing. Mostly.
She smiles to Garnet. Quite strange how some of these natural things still keep with us. They keep to me as well. Strange.
It's what you teach yourself to make sure you don't look like anybody else.
True.
That's also a lesson in the pain that you used to have when you used to breathe. It's almost like you're forcing it again and again, just to remember.
Madeline just seems to wallow in that comment for a moment or two. As she just begins to nod. Well, we have. Well, I was aware that Irene had been missing. She had not come home, but she is free to come and go as she pleases, of course. I was not aware that it was this serious.
Well, either way, one less school.
Mary did seem quite concerned when she met me at my stables, not too long ago, talking about faith and all that.
Did she?
It was most interesting. Most interesting.
What did she say?
She seemed to be on God's path. Or at least that's what she gave the inkling of.
Oh, and I apologize. Oh, which God would that be?
Oh, the Christian one. The Lord upon high heaven. She is merely wishing to atone for what she is.
The Lord on high heaven could be, arguably, depending on your view of the world, two claims, but, well, actually more. But I take your meaning.
She seemed to be more concerned about harming other people. It seems that she's realizes what she is and thinks that in itself is sinful. I thought it was most interesting. But again, it's not uncommon among the young to hate what they are.
The Lord laughs.
She has sworn to me that she is not turned against her own, whatever road of heaven she's seeking.
No, why would she? He'll smile. Not yet, anyway.
The hunters have taken a number of us. They've taken our blood. They have taken the minds of at least one of us. Corrupted fledgling.
All in the name of that little baby boy.
No. This was specifically in the name of killing us, of ending us.
Well, of course, we are the very living contradiction of what they believe in.
Are we?
Oh, very much so. Damned by everything else. And it makes sense why you would want to kill creatures such as us.
Yes.
Or control one of us, considering what some of us are capable of.
I think it's more a case of we are the apex predators. We just must be careful that the hunter does not become the hunted.
Perhaps it is a mixture. Combination of all of these fears, beliefs, meddling into a certainty that they have to do something. Who can honestly tell? And I would say that it matters little. They want
Reckless.
us dead, and we should make sure that they are kept from having their wishes.
It's more of a case of reckless pride limbed by self-righteousness when you think about it, but it's a waste either way.
Perhaps.
Well then, we should make plans, because I think it would be most amusing to see how they react when they realize the thing they fear is the very thing they've just stirred. And then we'll see what faith really gets them.
It did not end well last time. I thought it will end well this time. But they sure, well, from what I saw the last time, they were certainly spirited in their pursuits.
Spirited.
From what I remember, they seem to have a very good working understanding of our condition and quite capable of, however what shall we say, simple their solutions are to some of our gifts. They are quite effective at finding ways around them.
Which means one would have to immobilize their simple solutions, prey on the very thing that we are so accustomed to manipulating. The plague seems like a good option. After all, the ones who are already ghouled won't be affected by it, but the others, seeing such an illness does rock the faith at times.
Perhaps if they seemed to be almost targeted by the plague, they would believe themselves less than favored by their god. But, oh well. Perhaps we should not get into the idea of manipulating this plague when is something we really want to stop.
There is that.
I don't believe it's a force that we can control, essentially.
Well, this is true.
Or I don't know. I think if you slung enough rats over the walls, it would take.
And then spread. Well, that's the issue.
Into our feeding resources, and they're scarce enough as it is.
Our feeding resources are already practically gone.
Exactly.
Besides, there's no feeding in that hamlet. They all know. They came flooding out of every building.
So it was an ambush waiting.
As soon as the bells rang, as soon as I felt ever so exposed, so many people so quickly that I hadn't even time to move.
The church. Did you get a look inside, Mina?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's where they took us.
Was there an underground?
I didn't get to look that much. There was a lovely mob all around me the whole boring time. She says this as if it is the worst thing she has ever had to suffer. I'm not gonna lie. She's hammy.
Hmm. And yet, everyone lived. I wonder, what exactly happened that make you... Did you simply run at some point, or...
Oh, she grins. Oh, I stayed and I watched and I was glared at and spat on and called the devil, which really, just a little extreme. And then one of the windows was shot out and a man had an arrow in him and they stirred like, I'll say like a swarm of rats even. And there was an opening and I made a point of destroying another window on my way out.
Really? Huh.
Oh yes, once one of them was shot, they got very excited and they stopped watching so close. They reached and they grabbed and they slashed, but it was a little too quick for that. I've been waiting too long for a chance to get away. So dull, talking about God the whole time. On and on and on about everyone they've lost. And really, I can only be
Madeline
responsible for so many.
Madeline just comes over to Mina and just gives her just just kind of rubs her chin, and she just smiles to her, and she says, "Oh, it does get very, very boring when people start preaching, doesn't it?"
Him and Irene, back and forth, God, God, God. The whole walk, the whole time.
Irene.
Irene spoke with them.
Oh, I'm fairly sure it's the only reason they didn't jump on us from the get-go. They had such an engaging conversation about God. So engaging. She looks like she's dying inside.
Hmm.
Was she there for the conversation about God?
The whole way, like as they were walking back to the church, they were going on about, oh, are we damned? Are we not damned? I believe God thinks this, and I believe God thinks that. So she wasn't there for the part once they got into the church and got into the chamber, but they were going on and on the whole time.
Interesting.
What? An interesting ways of going around this, but
Kept him entertained.
Well, it seems someone cared enough to save you.
Hmm?
It seems someone cared enough to save you.
Oh no, I just took advantage of the situation.
The arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
I
ever
mean, that's
find
why
out
we were there, isn't it? I know where the arrow came from.
Hmm.
The wood looks very pensive.
I wonder, could we get our hands on one of the bodies?
The bodies
Which
of what?
bodies?
Ones that attacked you, Mina.
She
If you get
scratches her nose.
If you get on the body, you can discover where that person's been. And with some of us,
Well, I do work with Baylor a good bit. I bet he'd let me if it went to that graveyard.
well, there was one that I saw. Rub his chin. Not the ones in the town, the ones that attacked you. If we can get an idea, perhaps it might give us a clue to his dormitory.
Damn it, Minicam.
I believe you'll find that the Domitor is one of the the neonates they have captured.
I see. Which means the additional problem of a mob, you're going to have kindred to deal with.
Or they're killing what they eat. He didn't make it sound like he kept people for very long.
Should that not be a problem for him? Or anyone in his or their situation? Seems rather bizarre, calling us unholy, calling us all of these things, and yet utilizing the powers of the blood to empower themselves.
People do like to have a little bit of hypocrisy in them every now and again.
But are they not soldiers of God? Would this not be a quite...
Sometimes you need a little pain to have a little bit of faith. You grin.
I suppose so. Well, it just seems particularly strange. So,
Clover will eye Garnet quite hard when he says that.
Garnet just has this wicked little smile on his face. Sometimes you do have to do the most heinous thing in order to believe. That's what they always used to say. That's why some of them like to whip themselves. Sometimes it's just for the pain to know it's there. Knowing that God is right in the room with you, sharing in it.
such a waste. To gain wisdom without, well, to be taught lessons without wisdom is quite disheartening.
And while the body might be a little harder, I can see if this storage room is back in order and see if they might have left something behind. If you want to play touchy-feely.
That would be wonderful, darling.
She shoots him a side glance. How wonderful is this? What level of darling are we at?
We're at the, that would be good. Do your job, darling.
She pouts immediately after the side glance.
I still say that utilizing the fact that they are mortal, and mortals have quite a few weaknesses that we do not have, should be our way of going about this.
Combination of both, I would advise.
Johanna's going to be summoned briefly by one of her guards at the door, and she makes her apologies and disappears. Sorry.
So how did you two meet? Like, gesture at Torvald and Madeleine?
Thorvald's still giving it lessens now a little bit, but for a few beats he did give Garnet quite a hard look.
Oh, you would have loved it. You would have loved it. As Madeline just perks up a bit and she just says, "Oh, well, it was, you see this, well, it was this market. And we simply met, and everyone could see that we were so infatuated with each other, and we started dancing, and then everyone danced with us.
My, how romantic.
Quite so.
Smile.
I met him as I do most, both neonates and Scylla. I believe it was in Iraq some time ago. But as you know, I have a certain weakness, I suppose you could call it, from Clan Gangrel. I suppose we all have our vices.
Mm.
It was the day I entered the city. I recall it perfectly.
Yeah, that's right.
So how does it feel to be Madeleine's vice then, Torvald? I bet it's exciting.
Hmm.
You grin.
Vice is probably not the best. He is my student, I believe. However, honestly, when it is me, he is much my teacher as I am his. But it carries with it quite a few things in a teacher-student relationship, as you well know, Garnet.
Oh, of course. That's why I'm intrigued.
It is not always easy. Sometimes it is painful. For all involved.
Hmm.
It is the way it's supposed to be.
Mina will adopt a playful sulk. Oh, you replaced me already.
I can, and I will have more than one student at a time. Perhaps the two of you could have a lesson together. I would be more than willing to teach you both at the same time.
Mina may or
My.
may not be eyeballing Garnet to see how he's reacting to her teasing.
His grin just widens. My, Mina. Fine teacher for you. I bet that would be very exciting for you. She's a troublesome one, mind you, but I believe Madeleine could set you straight. Grin again.
No, I have my ways, as your sister well knows.
But how would
I
Torvald
need
feel about this?
Torvald.
He'll grin.
Hang on a minute.
How does Thorvald feel? Oh no. Timing.
That's my pitiful manipulation subterfuge roll. Yeah, he doesn't seem annoyed. It is.
Oh.
See what people get.
Where are we rolling?
3.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he doesn't seem annoyed. He doesn't seem jealous. Anyway, of her teasing. In fact, when it looks like he's about to say something, when Madeline says lessons together, and when she actually does say that, he smiles.
Perhaps we could trade, Madeleine. One student for another. Granite's grin will just widen like a Cheshire cat. You could teach me, and I could teach Torvald. See which one is the better teacher, obviously. I'm sure you win. You'll grin.
Well, I appreciate the offer. I believe that teaching must be well, I would want and always want willing students. I cannot force someone to learn if they are not willing to learn. It will not help. It will not be beneficial to either. But she just looks to Torvald and just, it is not my decision to make.
He looks at her. Well, I'm not used to making my own decisions.
Madeline just smiles to him. Another thing you must learn. But I do not believe that Garnet requires an answer at this moment.
Well, no, choice is a very important thing. In fact, choice defines many things about what we are.
Indeed. A thing to consider for the future.
He nods. Secretly wondering how many students Madeline has. Or whether the comment was just to get a reaction from him.
Yeah, that is a very good question. Madeline will just. Well, I do believe. It is a shame that Johanna have left us, and now I will have to be moving on as well. I am a poor host, but I do believe the owner will not mind you staying here if you wish to. Of course, it is quite a lovely place, but I'm afraid the company would be leaving. I have several things to attend to tonight, so.
Kind of just smile and nod. No, I understand. I'll make my own way. Whatever Mina wishes to do herself. Who knows? He'll grin at Mina, not really caring. It's just so lazily lounging.
He gets a tongue poked out in his general direction again. Because she's feeling decidedly impish, and he's being mean.
Guy will just stand up slowly to his full height again. It was a pleasure as always, Madeline, darling.
Likewise, Garnet. Please, be safe. And,
You just nod at Torvald and just walk out and then gone.
and Madeline will wait for Torvald to leave. And the two of them will leave together, I believe.
He'll say goodbye to Mina. Because he's not rude. Even though she's a fledgling. And
She'll be entertained to give him the little finger waggle. Very childish.
he seems to be very amused by her, which is, with his trait pool of 3, is quite difficult to hide. And he will follow Madeline about 1 or 2 paces behind her at first, and then he sort of remembers that she doesn't like that, and then walks equal to her. The dog following them.
And with that, I do believe that the scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. Good night.